Hi everyone. Today I'm going to tell you about hacking routines and meta worlds. These are the top 11 trends of 2022. Immersion into virtual worlds, the flowering of corporate awareness and general rebranding. In 2021 there were many changes that will affect our lives in the future. How exactly and what conclusions should be made from this for business? We have figured it out. Sit back and we will begin. A coach and a mentor for each. Back in the early 2010s, the media wrote about the growing role of mentors in the life of modern man. Information overload, excessive content, the flowering of conspiracy theories and fake news provoked a demand for authority. People are looking for support and need a guide to show them what to do and where to go. Previously, this search had a spiritual aspect. The middle class massively attended all kinds of retreats and spiritual practices. Today there is a demand for more applied solutions. As a result, there is a record demand for coaching services. According to the International Coaching Federation, ICF, the number of certified professionals alone increased by 13,200% in 10 years. We are repeatedly told that the world is changing and will change infinitely. The boundaries of the familiar are being pushed apart, and the concept of the new norm does not exist in principle. Just look at pandemics. Epidemics, climatic disasters and political changes can force you to change your place of residence, and trends in the market will force you to change your profession, and it will all happen in just a couple of months. But people want, at least in part, to shift the burden of decision-making to others, especially if others have the expertise. Mentors and coaches become guides in a world where there is too much information and too little order. For the IT specialist, a mentor helps him set priorities and grow faster in his career. And a lifestyle coach teaches to give up bad habits, take care of yourself and your condition, both mental and physical. In the era of late capitalism we perceive personal problems as challenges, which can be solved if we put enough effort, or even better, by a ready-made solution. Coaching, on the other hand, combines the two approaches in one, and people are willing to pay a lot of money for it. A new boom in esotericism. In the face of uncertainty, there is a resurgence of enthusiasm for astrology and occult practices, writes CNN. The app with daily horoscopes CoStar has already passed the 20 million download mark. Magic crystals are selling as well as diamonds, and the number of popular influencers is being supplemented by tarologists, astrologers and bloggers who practice witchcraft. It's gotten to the point that American TikTok users seriously refer to Grabovoi teachings and collect millions of views. In times of great turmoil, people always become more interested in occult practices. The 1990s and 2020s are an example of this. Moreover, magic rituals are well monetized. For example, Gwyneth Paltrow's company Goop, which sells all sorts of crystals and sprays from energy vampires, valued at $430 million. And the application with horoscopes CoStar recently attracted $15 million in the next round of funding. It is paradoxical that even educated people become fond of occult, and companies, such as Snapchat, invite tarologists into the office, in jest or in earnest. The motivation for new fans of esotericism is the same as for those who hire coaches, to find an island of stability in a stream of uncertainty. A vague prediction gives no specifics, but at least partly makes it easier to navigate. And it seems that in 2022 the trend will continue. People will continue to revive forgotten practices, and without reference to gender. For example, men's retreats with the obligatory use of shamanic ayahuasca are gaining in popularity. Customization of education. Another trend closely related to coaching and mentoring is the customization and personalization of education. We are not talking about a selection of lectures on demand. Users want more. They want a live dialogue with the instructor, an individual approach, rhythm and tempo taking into account their wishes and needs. You don't watch a boring lecture, but have an equal dialogue with an interesting person. Ask questions. This is the principle of intro service, where you can order a short call with an expert on any subject. New is well forgotten old. Once the Greek philosophers gathered disciples around them, but today experts take it upon themselves to train a small group of a select few. Another recent example is the Startup Medley, which offers groups of 7 people to learn individual skills under the guidance of an experienced coach. Even the creators of infoproducts have picked up this trend. They offer both basic courses and more expensive tariffs, where you can personally talk to a blogger and consult him on any questions. The trend gives experts the opportunity to monetize their knowledge through added value. In this case, it is an individual approach and the connection of entertainment, interesting conversation, with educational tasks, and this is the main principle of edutainment. Personal brand as a must-have. If just a couple of years ago, a personal brand was developed by top managers or bloggers, today every specialist, regardless of the industry, needs it. Moreover, today it is possible to build a brand not only on a professional foundation, but also on a system of views and ideologies. Until recently, this was mainly done by bloggers, but today it's everyone. In many respects, the boom is caused by the development of the creator economy, the market for which is already estimated at $3 billion. If you do not create content, you are not in the information field, and if you are not in the field, you do not exist in principle. The classic example of a famous content maker with a developed personal brand is Elon Musk. Using Twitter as his main platform, he creates not only an image of a businessman, but also an image of a troll, who shares memes and posts absurd jokes, and as a result, as if unintentionally, provokes fluctuations in the market. A personal brand, as Musk's example shows, is not about professional posts on social networks, but about personality, which in English is called personality. It is important to have your own point of view and not be afraid to express it. And this is necessary not only for big top managers, but also for ordinary specialists. Through a personal brand they can retrain as mentors or coaches, or get a more impressive offer with a higher compensation. Tools for hacking routines. It's amazing that in the age of artificial intelligence, we still spend hours of our lives on routine, mundane tasks. Only now their flow has shifted from analog to digital. We still keep to-do lists, only not in a notebook, but in notes, and we still try to exercise our brain. Only instead of crossword puzzles we use brain fitness simulators. The problem is that most services have not transformed our routine, there are just more tools. But in the 2020s, the demand for that very same hack will grow. Smart task tracking systems, non-standard methods of note-taking, e.g. mind maps or Zettelkasten, hobby generators, motivation apps, virtual secretaries. The demand for such products is growing, and startups are already responding to it. A peculiarity of the new services is more developed customization. You can identify the factors that motivate you, and the app will use them to push you to action. Another new nuance is the hacking of routines in all areas of life, including health. For example, femtech services that help women track cycle changes in more detail are gaining popularity, as are sleep monitoring apps. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the vid, it would be my pleasure. Meta-universes and the victory of online. One of the major changes that happened in the 2020s was humanity's final reconciliation with the online, for some forced, for some long-awaited, and for some routine. Online yoga classes, book clubs at Zoom, chatting with therapists and creative master classes via video conferencing confuse no one. Yes, people still want to go offline periodically, but overall the digital world has won. And the culmination was the transformation of Facebook into Meta. In fact, Zuckerberg's company recognized that humanity will be able to exist simultaneously in two spaces, real and virtual. Which one will dominate depends on culture, habits and a competent UX. Meta-universes have existed for a long time, and formerly many popular video games, like Farmville, a farm simulator, can be referred to them. But technology did not allow for accurate recreation of multi-level worlds that you can immerse yourself in without bugs and lags. But today it's possible, and the Meta Village market is expected to reach $829 billion in 2028. This means that now is the time to think about the virtual dimension of business. Not for nothing are companies already buying virtual land and real estate, building virtual collections of goods and services, and working on avatars and their personal brand. Meta Villages are not just another hype, but a new additional toolkit. Like the internet or messengers in their day, they open up new opportunities and new ways of doing business. HR brand as a magnet for talent. According to LinkedIn, companies that don't care about their HR brand make up for reputational problems with higher salaries and spend 10% more money on them. But that's not the main problem. It's hard for a faceless employer to recruit talent, especially in IT, where job seekers dictate the rules of the job market. However, in 2022, it will be necessary to fight not only for developers. The massive trend of firing at will, the growing rate of burnout, and the blossoming creator economy will further exacerbate the competition for personnel. And the companies, which do not invest into development of employees, have non-transparent HR policy, and in general do not have individuality, have minimum chances in this struggle. Therefore today, even at the early stage, startups are investing in the HR brand. They create separate social networks for the recruiting department, organize events, run corporate blogs, and in general carry out internal communications outside, in the public field. In 2022, not only large corporations and startups, but also small companies, small and medium-sized businesses, will invest in the HR brand. Overall, the market will face a global shortage of staff and mass burnout of employees. Therefore, employees will be retained at all costs, and for this it will definitely be necessary to invest in internal and external communications, new systems of motivation and encouragement. Remote-first teams. The cost of maintaining and running a business in Russia over the past 6 months to a year has increased by 30 to 40%. This is confirmed by statistics. For example, the individual entrepreneur in 2021 began to spend 55% more each month than the year before. Increases the payroll, rising prices to rent offices. The tax burden is also not getting easier. Everything from office real estate to corporate lunches is getting more expensive. And companies are looking for any way to save money. One scenario is moving business to another, cheaper jurisdiction with a more comfortable tax regime. American companies open offices and R&D centers in Ukraine, and Russian companies create divisions in the regions and CIS countries, rely on telecommuters, and, given the jump in personnel costs in Moscow, think about relocation to Eastern Europe. This helps compensate for the increased costs, but at the same time has almost no effect on quality. Everyone gradually got used to remote work, left to get used to geographical agnosticism. Your company can and should work effectively, no matter where its units, offices, and employees are located. Moreover, dispersed locations should be an advantage, not a disadvantage. Content ticketing. Although the concept of clip thinking is a myth, users are still gradually moving toward microformat content. The driver of the trend was TikTok, a social network in which you can explain the theory of relativity in a short, humorous video 30 seconds long. But TikTokization is not only short videos or Instagram posts. First and foremost, it is about changing meanings. One unit of content today can be used to create hundreds of multi-format entities, and such recycling of ideas is becoming the norm. The concept of uniqueness is being lost. Content makers serve the same knowledge in different sources, but more and more rarely create something fundamentally new. A recent example is the Kids Clips product from Netflix, short clips for kids cut from original cartoons and TV shows. It is interesting that not only the format of information consumption is changing, but also the format of communication. Heavy posts on Facebook are receding into the background, to be replaced by Telegram channels and chats with short, succinct and timely notes. Audiences in many countries are gradually turning to messengers, and Russia is no exception. Telegram channels, and their analogues, will become an alternative to regional media and will generally become the main source of information for millions of people around the world. In fact, they already are. Social commerce boom. Competition at the market of content creators will become tougher, and due to constant changes of the algorithms of the issuance, it will be more difficult for the authors to get to the top of the issuance without significant efforts. An alternative solution will be social commerce, selling products in the format of live streaming and other mechanics. In 2022 we should expect the blurring of the boundaries between a marketplace and a platform for communication. Many people are already used to this format thanks to video games, where the player can buy virtual items in a couple of clicks. Social commerce also simplifies the buying process and eliminates unnecessary steps. Zoomers are already beginning to reinvent stores on the couch, and they are succeeding. First and foremost in Asia, Chinese influencer Li Jiaqi recently sold almost $2 billion worth of goods in a day, and that's not the limit. Gradually, the trend extends beyond China. Twitter, YouTube, TikTok and Instagram are already betting on social commerce. And startups are attracting impressive investments. For example, the Flip service has attracted more than $30 million. The app combines the function of a social network with a live streaming marketplace, and the founders call Flip a hybrid of Amazon and TikTok. Sustainability and ethics are trending. ESG principles, E environmental, S social policy, G corporate governance, became more common in 2021, although the concept itself is not the first year. Companies are more and more concerned about their brand and try to present themselves in the public field in the best possible light. It has long been clear that it is not enough to share successes and stroke the corporate ego. It is also necessary to consciously engage in charity, introduce educational programs, invest in sustainable development and create a more comfortable working environment. Large corporations have already joined the agenda, while startups and small and medium-sized businesses are just beginning to discover ESG, and there will be more initiatives in 2022. Confirming the trend is a new platform from Diginex Solutions, which generates ESG ratings even for small organizations for as little as $100 a month. Another project is Plan A, a Berlin-based SaaS service that automatically generates ESG reports for a specific target audience, startups and venture capital funds. SMEs still have room to maneuver. Now is the time to master new principles of sustainability and experiment a little at a time. Again, we should not think that ESG is a transient trend. On the contrary, against the backdrop of climate change and fluctuations in the labor market, its role is only increasing. This is all about the trends of 2022 today. If you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, comment. I am very pleased to hear your opinion on this video. Until new facts, goodbye everyone.